Hello, I'm Shania and welcome to The Hook.
Hi, I'm Jacob.
Today Jacob and I will be looking at protests.
I've honestly never been to a protest before. What even happens at them?
It's pretty much just people standing up for what they think is right. They take to the streets with signs and try to raise awareness on a given issue in the hope that taking action leads to change. One protest in particular that occurred in King Street, Newcastle, brought over 4,000 rioters.
Wow, it must have been over something big to create so many angry citizens.
Well, it was actually over the closure of the Star Hotel, a protest that left 14 officers and 8 civilians in hospital, and 46 people charged with 79 offences.
No wonder it was one of the biggest in Australia.
Let's take a look.
First it was beer cans, and then it was bricks, rocks and pieces of timber, anything the crowd could lay their hands on. The police moved in on the crowd at the western end of King Street, but soon they had retreated to the other end of the street, still in close proximity to the rioters. As they moved back, the crowds moved forward, and then the unsightly arrests began. Fists and feet were used to fight off police, who in turn were armed with batons. Police worked together to drag some offenders away. There were escalating exchanges. One of the most bitter confrontations ever seen. 14 of the 50 police on the scene were injured, some seriously, in these exchanges, when it became almost impossible for them to keep a close eye on the crowd around them. There was an anxious moment when police realised there might have been offenders in the paddy wagon. Fortunately, there wasn't. The fire was a little too much for everyone. Some cheered, but others stopped dead in their tracks, realising the situation had got out of hand. 22 people injured, $40,000 worth of police property destroyed. A stillness that smelt savage and a little embarrassing for all concerned hung over the scene.
It sure did look violent.
Yeah, I definitely couldn't see something like that happening these days. I think the Star Hotel has changed a lot since then.
Yeah, we actually had a team go out and check out what it's like now. Let's have a look at that.
How has the Star Hotel changed to keep up with the times?
In comparison to the riot days, you mean, like back in the 70s? Yeah, oh, it's heaps different. I mean, I wasn't there in the 70s, I wasn't even born, but the venue was 3 times as big, went the entire length of the block, so you could get in from Hunter Street or from King Street. They had 3 different bars. This bar was the live music bar, the middle one was the drag bar, and then the front bar was called like the sailor bars. But now it's a lot smaller, it's just a third of the size. We still do live music, but less focused on just rock and roll and I guess ruckus kind of behaviour. It's more classy, I suppose you'd say, is one way to put it.
So what ways do you think the Newcastle nightlife has changed and evolved? I feel like it's changed drastically.
Massively.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the biggest contributing factors as of late would be the lockout laws. It's changed a lot of bars. Instead of everyone being open heaps late and being able to get into everywhere heaps late, the restrictions have meant that bars have to do a lot of things earlier, and I guess change their offering to allow to be closed earlier. So that's a bit of a negative on the nightlife.
So can you please describe the vibe of the Star Hotel nowadays?
Quite different than it used to be. Less focused on rock and roll bands, more a variety of music now. So we do jazz on a Sunday, dueling pianos on Saturday. So it's still a fun party bar vibe.
So what type of clientele do you serve?
Generally speaking, sort of like 25 and up. Quite a broad variety of people, I guess, because we have a lot of different music going on. It's just any music lover or people that just want to come and have a drink. No particular, like we don't just serve sort of like rock and rollers or anything like that. It's just everyone's a bit different.
Yeah. What do you reckon is your busiest night of the week? Did you say it's the weekend, or is there any particular night of the week, like a Wednesday, that just goes off for some reason?
I would say Saturdays would be our busiest night because that's when we do our dueling pianos, and that seems to be what brings in a lot of people.
Wow, it's definitely changed. And so have protests, with riots once caused by the closing of a local pub, and nowadays they're more attuned to global issues.
Well, I think there's definitely still some similarities in our protests. Maybe not the violence, but recently we've been protesting about the Moreton Bay fig trees, which have been protested since way back in the 70s.
Yeah, actually the environment is one thing that people have always advocated for. Let's take a look.
Decisions made by our civic fathers were not accepted by some sections of the community. A sore point amongst conservationists was the axing of a row of long-standing Moreton Bay fig trees in Birdwood Park. The trees received the chop in 1973 to make way for the widening of King Street. The then Lord Mayor, Alderman McDougall, and the police kept the protesters at bay while the workmen continued with their chainsaws, axes and bulldozers. Placard-carrying protesters objected to sections of Blackbutt Reserve being claimed for a wider trunk road through New Lambton Heights. Residents wanted alternate routes considered so that the nature strip would not be cut.
Well, let's see what the Novocastrians of today have to say about protesting.
The protest is a staple for political discourse across the world and throughout history. But what does the average person on the street have to say about it?
G'day, I'm Brad. We're out on the streets of Newcastle. We're going to ask people how they feel about protesting. Let's go. So, have you guys ever been to a protest?
No, I haven't.
I have. Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
What was that for?
Yeah, I'm from Perth, and it was the recent climate action protest.
No, I haven't. I haven't, unfortunately. Yeah. No, I've thought about it, but no, I haven't. No.
No.
Many. I spent 36 years as a policeman.
No, I haven't just before.
No, I haven't been to a protest. No. How do you feel about protests just in general? It really depends what you're protesting about, you know, if it's a good cause. It's just a matter if you do it safely or not.
I think it's good. Yeah, I think we live in a democracy. I think freedom of speech. I think everyone has the right to protest if they do it in an appropriate manner. You know?
I think sometimes it's necessary if something doesn't get pushed enough because it brings more light to the issue.
I think it's a great way to provoke change, especially socially.
Most protesters I've found are just irresponsible thugs that have usually got nothing whatsoever to do with the issue that they're protesting against. They're just, what would you call, professional protesters.
Depends on, obviously, if the protests escalate to violence and all that. I don't really condone anything like that, but I think that people should be able to voice their opinions.
Yeah, it's a good way to voice your opinions and strength in numbers, I guess.
What do you think is like a worthwhile issue now?
I'd say climate change. Or
Climate change for sure. That's the big one for me.
Yeah. Definitely environmental issues.
A lot of issues that are worth protesting against, but it's not worth getting out in the street and blocking public thoroughfares or stopping food supplies and this sort of thing, or interrupting people's businesses and their livelihood. That's not a real protest. That's just skullthuggery.
What do you think people should be doing instead?
They should be writing letters to members of Parliament. They should be getting out placards and whatever, and talking to people in the street like you're doing right now, rather than going out and sticking their blooming moniker on the side of buildings, whatever, destroying somebody's property.
That's what the people of Newcastle have to say. It's back to you.
Recently we've had protests on seismic testing, climate change, anti-coal action. Can you see yourself protesting against any of these things?
Well, a few of my mates have gone down to Merriweather Beach in protest of the seismic testing. I haven't really gone down myself yet, but I hope to in the future.
Yeah. What is seismic testing so bad? Why is it so bad, sorry?
Well, the whole marine ecosystem will be at risk from the gases.
All the dolphins and whales, I can definitely see why it's worth protesting about then. I've noticed one thing that hasn't changed is that we still don't like our politicians.
Yeah, from Malcolm Fraser to Fraser Anning, how ironic.
The government's decision did not make the Prime Minister, Mr Fraser, a popular man among union members. During one of his rare visits to Newcastle, Mr Fraser was greeted by a hostile crowd. Displaced dockyard workers yelled abuse and pelted his car with tomatoes.
Well, we did a survey, and this is what 60 diverse individuals had to say.
Yeah, so 77% of people would protest against climate change.
Followed by 62% of people who said they would protest in favour of gender equality.
Other issues that respondents said they would protest about include immigration, animal rights, children's rights, Australian politics, pro-choice and anti-globalisation.
And you know, protesting doesn't have to be about rallies in the streets or strikes anymore. A number of people consider that signing a petition or posting on social media is a new form of protesting.
Yeah, it's good that social media provides that opportunity for people to voice their opinions without endangering their own lives or affecting the lives of the people in the community.
How the future is changing. Anyways, that's a wrap from us.
Thanks for watching The Hook.
Hey, that was pretty...
Yes, that was actually good.